Today's topic is when to sell. And when to sell is not an easy subject. It is a subject of great debate, great discussion,
Akshay,
and frankly,
can we just do a check if everyone can hear us? I just see a message where somebody says they can't hear us. So if you could just on the chat give us a thumbs up. Oh yeah, we can. Okay, we can hear. We've
okay.
just got it. Yeah, go ahead, Akshay. Thanks.
Okay, great. So like I said, it's a subject that invites great interest, great discussion, great controversy, and as is typical with many of these things, there is no single answer. So, the purpose of today's webinar is to make you think and hopefully make you understand a few things. What I'm going to do today, I've invited one of our customers, not just a customer, but he's a really intelligent investor. His name is Vaibhav Dalal, and he's a senior HR professional, 20 plus years of experience. And he's a very engaging individual. That's the unique thing about him. Lots of people work in HR and stuff, but just to give you his professional credentials, he's worked with ICICI, he's worked with GE, he's worked with Wipro, currently working with Amazon. And if you want to work in Amazon, that's the guy to call. But the reason I wanted to invite him is because he's such a thoughtful investor. He's extremely engaging in how he thinks about stuff. He's got some great war stories to talk about. And it is an immense pleasure for me to invite Vaibhav to join us. He's with us on the video. And welcome, Vaibhav.
Hi, thank you. Those are some really kind words, Akshay. That means a lot.
No, it's a great pleasure. So, Vaibhav, let me, I just want to I have very simple questions, and please answer any way you want, so you're not sort of fussed about what you say. How you think is very important for me. So the first thing I want to ask you, what is your investment style? Are you a conservative investor? Are you an aggressive investor? Are you a risk taker? Are you a risk avoider? How do you think of yourself as an investor?
I think I'm, as age goes by, I'm going to the other side, becoming more aggressive as an investor. But it's been a wonderful journey. I started conservative with bond mutual funds way back in 2003, and that sort of gave me a kick because it was a nice little return that you could make. Then on, I've moved from doing a couple of PMSs, losing some money here and there, and now to algo. So becoming more and more aggressive, but I take smaller bets. My source of information has been a mix of CNBC and keeping Twitter and money control and all of that. So I take in a lot of information from various sources. I cannot say that I have a fixed philosophy. So, I call myself the instinctive investor. You invest based on instinct and you assimilate whatever you read, right? You get information from so many different sources. You sort of pick that in. Banking is my favorite sector. I started my career with them. So, I keep reading about the business. I keep reading about new innovations that are happening, fintechs coming in. Look at some PE data, some book value data, and see that I'm not really looking at companies that go really, really high. Keep track of pledge shares, look at if there's any industry trend, bad news, some of those. So mostly instinct, but I do read up a lot. This is the only hobby I have, like I told you. So I keep reading a lot of stuff. And when I invest, some bit of my instinct and a lot of that information that I've gathered comes in.
What you call instinct, Weber, is actually knowledge. And you yourself said you're a curious investor. You keep reading. You have many sources of information, and then informed instinct is probably the best thing you can develop as an just instinct. Aaj acha lag raha hai, khareed lo. That is not the thing. But the fact you've studied these things, that's a very important point that I want everybody to take away from this. So my second question is, how do you decide that this is a good stock to buy? And I'm fascinated with your Subex story. So please do share that with our participants.
Yeah, Subex is a dream multi-bagger for me. It's, I started I bought this share about 3 years back, and based on recommendation of somebody who came to sell me a bank account and a mutual fund, and he said, this is a company, it's a platform company, and right, they've moved. Subex is a story that was 600 rupees share sometime, and when I bought it, it was about 7 to 8 rupees. And
Wow.
over the few years, I kept accumulating, I kept buying, because I liked the IT theme, the little more futuristic platform. I kept looking at the news, and I didn't see any bad news coming in. I saw that there was no one big investor, which I thought was probably the reason why there was not a lot of fluctuation of volatility. But that stock from 8 rupees came down to 5 rupees during all of this, during the pandemic. And I was like, what am I doing? I had collected a decent amount by then, a few thousands. And, today it's a 55 rupee stock. So sometimes patience really pays if you keep track. There was never, through this period, there was never any significant bad news, which was the reason why I just held on, right? Even if it was losses. So that was something that that really worked for me, and it was a low risk bet, right? 5 rupees doesn't matter, 8 rupees doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and but generally when you buy, what is it? What is in your mind when you say, "ठीक है, इसको खरीदेंगे यार,"
Yeah. So before Investor AI, I used to, I keep track of Twitter, and I look at a lot of forums that go on in Twitter where people talk about it, right?
Right.
And once that stock catches my attention, I look at news around it, the industry. I look at how the ratios are. I also look at historical trends in terms of how the stocks performed. What's the all-time high? If there's a gap from all-time high, that's probably a reason why I would buy it. I know there are, momentum investing philosophies that say you should buy when it's right up there. I don't think it really works for some of us. I get really scared when the stock is right at the high. So I look for gap from the top, and I look at the business. And if there's a decent gap from the top, and I know the stock has gone to a certain X level at some point in time, basis some information, all of that, and then that's how I look at investing. I definitely keep track of most of the banks. That's my
Yeah.
favorite thing to do.
And what you said about keeping track. Once you track a set of companies, you get familiar with them. If in one glance, you can say, "कुछ ठीक नहीं है,"
Yeah.
because you get that muscle memory. When you just look at a price, something has gone up too much or gone down too much. Great. So my last question to you is, when do you decide to sell? How do you decide the time to sell now? आप क्या करते हो?
Yeah, so it's a struggle. I've always wanted to have this philosophy that cut your losses, right? Every educated investor says that. Every expert says that cut your losses. I've kept a 10% for myself, but it doesn't happen. Actually, selling is very, very difficult. Whether the stock is going up significantly, you want to wait for it, right? And it so happens that the moment you sell, the stock goes up more, and the moment you buy, the stock goes down. And that happens probably a lot of times. A lot of us feel for it, but with Investor AI, I'm trying to learn and make that happen, right? Because just in the past 1 month, I've seen that whenever my greed goes a little more, right, the 3%, the alpha 330 that I use, whenever I've gone a little beyond 3%, said, oh, no, looks like a good trend, let me move that stop loss to 5%. It's not worked. So now I'm trying to do this 3% on
Yeah,
alpha
there's a reason it's
330.
called 3%, 330, not 530.
Learning from it, but that's my newest thing, and I'm trying to see, because I'm right now just about starting out, so the value is not huge, right? And one stock can really bring down your whatever you earned in seconds. So I'm now trying to do this 3%. I just sold a stock yesterday, which was Z Entertainment, and I was at 30% loss. But I've been sitting on it for so long, and I realized that now I have something like Investor AI. I can use the same money, and do so much more than having to wait for Z to turn around, right? I mean, it's not a call on Z, but it's just that when to sell is always a challenge. Some of these tools really help. I'm glad that we have Investor AI that gives me some bit of that sense, for sure.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much for your time. Pleasure
Absolutely.
to have you with us, and many things to learn from this. Thank you, Vaibhav, and have a great weekend. So guys, I mean, it was really interesting for me to listen to Weber talk, and there are some, he has his own experience, and of course, all of you will have your own experience. I just want to bring up some generic points. Like Weber said, selling is very difficult, and I will tell you, my personal experience is exactly that. I know more than most people about investing, but even I get it wrong all the time. When the stock goes down, logic tells me cut your losses and go. But my heart says, no, I bought it for a reason. Ye upar jayega. And many times I have been wrong and I've lost money. When the market goes down, I say, okay, I have made enough money on this particular stock. I'm going to sell this. So I sell my profitable positions and hang on to my loss-making positions. So there are all kinds of illogical things that all of us do. And I speak from experience. But deciding when to sell remains a very important element of any investment process. And like I said before, there is no single answer. There is a quote from Warren Buffett that I've listed out here, which I think is very interesting. It says, when we own a piece of outstanding business run by outstanding management, our hold period is forever. So he never wants to sell. Now, all of us don't have the same luxury that we can keep holding on to things for a long time. If you look at, so I actually saw a CNBC interview with somebody, I can't remember who. I think it was Jamaat Palahapatiya, the big SPAC man from Facebook. He said, I like Tesla. I think Elon Musk is a genius. My hold period for Tesla is forever. So there is a very distinct school of thought that says good stocks pakad ke baitho, or there's no reason to sell ever unless you need the money. But it's not so straightforward, as we all know. Today's, these are some of these Warren Buffett ideas are from 30 years ago, 20 years ago, when he started with a certain philosophy. It has done incredibly well for him. But if I look at today's market cycles are shorter. Black swan events are no longer rare. You see more what people call black swan events. I mean, I think COVID pandemic was a black swan event. And I'm sure more are on their way. Secondly, volatility is so much greater. The amount of up and down you see is phenomenal, even during a market that is, overall going up. Thirdly, markets are more and more connected and therefore more porous. Bitcoin prices will affect stock prices. And now with Coinbase IPO, there is a very large company sitting there that is affecting the index. And that is completely based on cryptocurrency prices. So, the sort of interrelationship of markets is happening. Fourthly, I find investment time horizons are not as long. You'll have the mutual fund advisors saying, "Aap long term ke liye invest kariye," but most people are not really there for long term. If you can't say you'll make money in 20 years, but for the next 2 years you lose money, don't worry about it. No one feels okay with that. And then, all our interactions now digital. I do all my stuff on the phone.
Actually, you've gone mute.
Okay, sorry, I had gone mute. So I was saying, our digital attention spans are so short. I use my phone for most things. I don't actually trade on my phone because my account with Interactive Brokers is not set up that way. But I look at my portfolios 16 times a day. And so I'm always sort of looking at it, and your attention spans become very short. Your time frame becomes smaller and smaller. It's more a psychological thing, but it affects trading. And lastly, access to markets is so easy. Anyone can trade instantly. You can not just do equities, you can do funds, you can do bonds, you can do options, you can do futures. People are enabling trading very, very quickly. So, so the velocity of what is going on in the market tends to go up. And if you sort of think about it, I really want us to think about first principles, guys. When to sell depends on three things. That is why I was asking Vaibhav those three questions. One is, what is your investment style? Secondly, why you bought the stock in the first place? And thirdly, what information you can get, and InvestorAi is just one source of information. There are obviously other sources of information as well. So let's talk about investment style for a moment. You can say I am a buy and hold investor, in which case what you're really saying is my horizon is long term. I'm not here into day trading, and therefore, if that is your investment style, then you should be buying stocks that you like and you understand. And once you have that conviction of having bought a stock that you like and understand, then temporary glitches on price should not bother you. And you should be able to, you should be able to hold on for a longer period of time. That is really, really important. If you say my investment style is short-term momentum trading, then short-term up and down matter. Okay, and then therefore your behavior, when you sell becomes a very different answer. If you say my trading style, I'm a day trader, then that is all you're worried about. Then you're tracking small instances and small examples. The Subex example that Vaibhav gave us is an important one. He bought the stock because he did research on the company, he understood the company, and he had a sense of conviction that this is the right strategy, and therefore I want to have some exposure to it. You don't have to that is very, very important, because if you don't have a view on the company and you don't understand the company, please don't buy it ever. And then there is no question of selling, because you should not be buying it. So there is no substitute to your own efforts and your own time and your own sort of understanding and conviction about the company. The conviction point is important. Because he had that conviction, even when 8 rupees fell to 5 rupees, he continued to buy. And therefore, was positioned for it. It took 3 years. Now, I don't know if I would have the patience to hold something and have that long-term conviction for a company I didn't really, really know well. But he had it, and he made handsome money. So more power to him. But I would say for me, 3-year time frame is just too long. I don't think I could have the patience to wait for something to go up for 3 years. But my more generic point is that in our life, all of us, either through education or through employment or through friends, understand some parts of the economy more than others. Okay, as Vaibhav said, he understands technology. I too understand technology, or banking, like he said. I too understand technology because I spent 4 years at Infosys and got quite close to what was going on in the tech world, and I've always stayed in touch. I understand banking because my first career was Citibank. I understand asset management because I spent 7-8 years in the alternative asset management world. So there are things I feel very comfortable with. There are things I just don't feel comfortable with, like materials and industrials and all. It makes no matter. So I have said to myself that I will only buy what I will understand. So, your investment style and thinking are paramount in all this. Secondly, why you bought the stock in the first place. If you bought it for short-term gains, then you have to look out for short-term gains and sell quickly. If you bought it for long-term hold, then you are there for the longer term. And what is the longer term is a different matter. And lastly, what InvestorAi is saying. So let me just come to InvestorAi, and I will actually show it to you on the app, and then we can take questions. So first part, you have to understand what each page of Alpha 330 and Value Investing is telling you. There is a lot of information on that page, guys. And it is, I'm not going to go into details of each page and each item of information, but it would be enormously valuable to understand, what this number means. And once you start looking at it regularly, the muscle memory starts to develop. So in one glance, you can tell, something is okay or something is not okay. And that skill is very important. I have personally experienced that in many ways. There is something else completely unrelated to investing, where I've been subscribing to a newsletter for the last 20 years. And now I can just look at it and, say that there's something going on in the market just by, in a 1 minute sort of, review. So developing that muscle memory is a very important investment skill. Secondly, there is a feature called active monitoring. Please use that. And I will show you how it works. We are in the process of upgrading it, so it will have many, many more features in a few weeks. But please use active monitoring. Thirdly, technicals and fundamentals. Now, this may not be everybody's cup of tea because they tend to be technical. Obviously, they're called technicals. But it is worth figuring out if there's a bearish signal on any company you're holding. And if you see that, then that is a red flag that you should pay attention to. Finally, not finally, but the next, supplement the algo information with play and live info. Play is it's a very interesting thing. You can compare one company with another, but it also compares it on many criteria like volatility, like analyst view, like, market beta, returns, capital structure, and so on. So here we have taken many complex calculations and made it simple and easy to understand. And by comparing one company with another, you get a very good idea of what people are, what companies are like, and what appears good, what appears bad, and so on and so forth. Then there is a live info feature which you must use. I use it a lot because when I look at a price, I'm sort of like Weber, where it says, I don't like to buy prices that have gone up too much. But when I look at that price, I immediately look at a 52-week high and a 52-week low. Is it close? If it's within 5% of 52-week high, then I'm not going to buy it because, if it's close to its peak. Now, it may cross the peak and create a new peak, but then I need to understand the company much, much better. Then I have to have a view whether, and frankly, many times I don't really have time to do that. So I just take that as a surrogate. And if it's closer to the 52-week low or somewhere in between, then I know there is an opportunity. Secondly, talk to friends. Okay, we've set up an InvestorAi community WhatsApp group. If you want to join, please let Prabal know, and we will admit you. But sharing with friends, sharing with your colleagues is very important. There is a share button within InvestorAi that you can click and use, and that will allow you to send the algo pages to literally anyone you want, and you can have a discussion and a dialogue on this. And finally, check the algo accuracy, okay, because that changes from time to time. We go to great lengths to make sure that they're always operating above 70%. Sometimes they've gotten close to 95%. So there is a very strong input there. Put all this information together, understand what the signals are telling you, especially in Alpha 330, we actually show you how the signal is moving. When the signal is high, that is a good time to buy. When the signal is low, that is not a good time to buy. It may or may not be a good time to sell. A good time to sell would be, when either you have achieved your returns or it really goes back to the point I was making. Why did you buy the stock in the first place? I want to take a little bit of a pause and I want to ask a question. And Prabal, please put up the question on when do you sell? Different people do different things. I'm just curious that of the 60, 70 people we have on the group, when do you actually decide to sell? So just please click on the button.
Can you see it, Akshay? Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see
okay.
that. Okay, this is really interesting. This is actually a surprise to me, and thank you. So what this is saying is that more than half the people are looking for a target return, and 54% will sell when you have made your target return. Congratulations, you're very logical and you're very smart investors. There are 30% people who will sell when they think the price has peaked. And again, you will only have a view whether the price has peaked if you are following the company and getting more information. So to me, that is also an interesting thing. 11% when I need the money, of course, that is a very pragmatic thing. And 7% when I start losing money. And unfortunately, I sort of belong to that. I get nervous when I start losing money, and I know it's not logical, but that is obviously a reality. That is really quite interesting. So that if the target return is the thing that we are looking at, so let me now bring up our InvestorAi page, and let me just share my screen. And I just want to show you some of the things that I was talking about. Okay, can we get this off the page? Okay, so if I go into InvestorAi, this is the home page. By the way, this is the new home page, and I hope you all like it. Remember, if you're not familiar with it, just go on the top right-hand corner and go to Preferences, choose your markets, and I have only activated India, but you can switch on and switch off literally any markets you want. Then you can choose your sectors. And again, I've got a few sectors, so I'm going to leave it like that. But you can, again, switch on as many sectors as you wish. This is very important because this basically determines what you see. If you have not switched on auto, you'll never see anything on auto. Okay. And I will come. So what you're really seeing is, first category is wisdom of crowds. So it shows you what other people are looking at. This is my personal watch list. So these are just some of the stocks and groups that I'm tracking. There are some shortcuts, test drive, etc. So you can play with it in your own time. If I go here, let me just go to Alpha 330, which is the algo that targets a 3% return in 30 days. Okay, and it's based on momentum investing factors. You will see. So let me just pick something that. Let me take the gainers, and so let me take. Let's take CAMS. That's an interesting company. So what's so this is this is a share registry company, big leader in India. So this signal was generated on 19th of April. It has already returned 14.5% in roughly 10-11 days. It's got 19 more days to go. Currently, there is no signal, and now you can see that there is a signal chart that you see with every Alpha 330 page. The signal spiked about 10 days ago. That is when we triggered the insight. And the best time to buy any signal is when the signal has peaked. Signal has peaked and the signal is high. That is when you see the insight on day one. If I had bought it on day one and I had held it till now, I would have made 14%, well in excess of the 3%. But again, if I was after target returns, I would have sold it at when I made the 3% return, and I would be quite happy because I would have made that 3% in 3 or 4 days. Now, I could take the view that CAMS is actually a great company. They have almost 50% market share, and I really don't want to be selling it. I think the stock is going to do well. I bought it at a good price, and so let me go into live info. This is the live info piece that I was talking about. It takes you into Google Finance. This is the 1-day price. I can show me 6-month price. So it's beginning to go up now, and then I can read up. I can do more research on CAMS as I want. So this is a very useful feature to go outside of InvestorAi and then do your own research. Then I talked about a share button, and this is how you can share it with friends and family. You can send it on WhatsApp, you can send it on text, you can send it on email. And finally, I talked to you about the accuracy button, which gives you the algo accuracy. This is running at 76% accuracy and so on. So this is, I hope many of you who use InvestorAi are familiar with it. So just get used to understanding how the pages work. I had talked to you about technicals and fundamentals. So I can go to fundamentals and I can, show me bearish signals and show me companies which have a very high PE ratio amongst peers. And I can select the India market and I can select any sector. So I can say, show me banks. And in banks, there are 2 banks, IDFC and Aavas. where this signal is active. And so it then acts as a red flag to you that if you're holding or if you made your money, that may be a good time to sell.
One of our subscribers, Gautam K, wanted us to take an example of Reddington. I think he wanted to see something specific, but just letting you know. I mean, he's a subscriber, so he can see it as
Okay, so let's take Reddington. So you can do, I talked about active monitoring. So you can go to Reddington and say, okay, monitor Reddington for me. So now it is being monitored for you. It's very easy. You can just put it. So if I go to home page and I look at my watch list, I should be able to see Reddington somewhere. I have a long watch list. So here's Reddington. So now I go to Reddington. It shows me, now all the numbers are 0 because we've just started. So it needs 1 hour, 1 day of data to show you the numbers. So ignore the zeros for now. But this is telling you that there is a live insight on Reddington on Alpha 330. All you have to do is click on this, and then it takes you to Reddington. You can go to snapshot saying Reddington is a technology company, small cap, but 1 year performance is spectacular. 140%. The stock has gone up, 2.5x. You can say, okay, the signal came on the 5th of April. Since the 5th of April, it's already made 1.2%. The signal has got 5 more days to go, but the signal is still high. So this could be still a good time to buy Reddington. So this is really, really quite an interesting thing. The other thing you can see, are there any similar stocks where there is a signal? And it tells you that there are 6 similar stocks where there is a signal. Okay, so this is how you can track any company you like. Just start with active monitoring. If there is a live signal, the machine will show you. If there is no live signal, then it will keep track. And whenever there's live signal, it will alert you. And the way to read this, if you look at the Reddington tile here in the middle, I've just started tracking it, so the return is 0. But wherever you see a red circle with an alert, that means there is a live insight on this. Where there is no live insight, you will see a gray circle. So that's how to read this. But the other thing I can do is I can go to play and I can put in Reddington. This is what I was talking about when I was on the slides. So I can look at comparison of Reddington with the markets. And the way to understand play, the red shape is Reddington, the gray shape is the market, and it converts every attribute on a 0 to 20 scale. And 20 is good, 0 is bad. So the larger the shape, the better it is. And what this is telling me that Reddington scores very highly on historic performance, better than market. It scores very highly on valuation, so it's an undervalued stock at the moment. And analyst consensus equal to market. But then you can compare it to technology sector, in which case it looks even better. But when you start comparing it to competitors, if I remember, one of the names there was Emphasis. So let me just take Emphasis. So what am I doing? Emphasis. So now this compares Emphasis with Reddington. It tells me that on historic performance and future outlook, they are about equal. On valuation, Reddington is a lot better, which means it's a much cheaper stock. The analyst consensus view is similar. On capital structure, Emphasis is better. And on maximum drawdown, which is the peak to trough ratio volatility, Emphasis is much better. And of course, all these definitions are there. And you see the question mark, just click on it and it'll show you what all the terms mean. So this is another very good way of comparing. You could, of course, go back to Reddington and go in there and go into live info, like I said, and you can, again, research Reddington as much as you like, and you can sort of do these things. So there are a lot of tools and features and signals within InvestorAi. We don't actually tell you when to sell, like just the way we don't tell you when to buy. We just show you the signal. It is up to you to decide. That is quite an important sort of notion for us, because we're not an advisory app. We are pure information. But while we are pure information, the one thing you should not forget that you always have a trade button at the bottom. This is a new feature that we launched about a week ago. If you click on that, you can actually buy. It takes you to the small case gateway. And as long as your brokerage account is with one of these names, you can just click on that and straight away put through a transaction. So you never have to come out of InvestorAi. And then using this, you will have access to real-time prices and things like that. So with that, let me stop. And I'm very happy to take questions.
Great, Akshay. So I actually see one from Alok. So I will start with that. He asks, what are the charges for using the platform and what is the free trial period? Further, is it valid for intraday? So do we want to first take the other two questions, Akshay?
Yeah. So Alok, you'll see the fees on the app. It's 800 rupees, 799 rupees a month for all algo access to the India market. If you're interested in the international market, you will see it's 1399, and then you get all markets and all algos. In the free version, you will always get one or two signals per algo. So you will see 5 or 6 signals. You will not see the whole lot. We have hundreds in InvestorAi. So, the free version is really meant for you to understand what is the app showing, how does it show it, does it make sense to you? And the real question is, would you like similar information for many other signals? If you don't, that's an easy way to sort of start. If you like, then it's a simple subscription, and we've deliberately kept it at the cost of a Swiggy order. So it's not a listen. On intraday, we don't give you real-time prices. So some of our signals are not ideal for intraday. But if you look at swing trades is very good for a 3-day. It's a 3-day idea. We hold that idea only for 3 days. And on occasion, this has been working at, close to 90-95% accuracy. I'm going to ask Sarthak if he wants to add anything to it, but Sarthak heads our product development and our Bridgeweave Labs unit. So.
Thank you, Akshay. Alok, you've been very active on chat. Glad to see you here today. First, let me answer your last part of the question. Do we provide intraday signals? Well, honestly, we don't have anything that gives you a day's signal. But what you can do is look at the watch list. Use this as, use the value investing Alpha 330 as a watch list. So when you're trying to make your daily trades, you can look at this because these are, positive trends and, picked up by the machine. So the chances are you would make intraday returns as well. But in the app, we do not recommend or we don't provide any intraday signals per se. Now, coming back to, sorry.
Yeah, let's take other questions.
Yeah, Percy, I want to take Percy's. Yeah.
I see a very simple question which I can immediately answer, which is in Alpha 330, some blocks are red and some are white. So, and it's similarly in value investing. Now, of course, people who are old enough will recognize the signal red and white wano ki baat hi aur hai. But jokes apart, when you read a signal and you click on a red tile, it will turn into white because showing you that you have read it. So the red is your unread, forgive the pun, and the white is your read. Again, forgive the pun. So.
In terms of the chart that we show in value investing, so it's a bell curve. If you're from statistics, you'll understand. But what it actually does, it shows you a valuation level of the security in relation to the market. See, the reason why we divide it with the market is to detrend. So imagine if you were investing during the COVID crash, literally everything would be undervalued, right? Because they're all trading at low PEs then. But does that mean that everything you should buy? No, right? So it's the same thing. So what we do is when you divide the PE against the market, you get a detrended series that is relative to the market. And, for value investing, there should be a, if you see the chart, there is a dotted line that suggests undervaluation. And what is that undervaluation level?
Why don't I just show it?
Sure.
Yeah, I was just going to say that'll be great.
I can see a question from Jasim on Alpha 330 as well.
Yeah.
So why don't I just cover both of them? Because
all questions here are from our subscribers, so that's great that they join us every week.
So let me go back. So let me go to Ideas Corner. So let me take Alpha 330 first. So Reddington Quilleten. So let's start with a snapshot page. So what this is telling me, so this is just a few details about the company, that this is in the technology sector. It's a small cap stock, 1 year performance 140%, beta compared to market relatively low. And this is the historic performance chart. So this is fairly basic information. The main page is the signal page. And if you look at it in the top banner, it tells you the current price and the date of that price. This is previous day's price, Jasim. So it's not the real-time price. And then it tells you that the algo has identified Reddington as a stock that has a high propensity to deliver this return. This signal was identified on the 5th of April. And since 5th of April, if you had bought on 5th April, price has gone up 1.2%. Then we keep its Alpha 330, so 3% in 30 days. We keep the signal open for 30 days. So it's got 5 more days to go. And the current status is active, which means it's a high signal. Then it does a little back testing and shows you how many times has the signal come for Reddington. It has come twice in the last 12 months. Once it made phenomenal money, 45% when the market moved 5% in 30 days. And the other time it lost money compared to market. So, there is a risk here, which we know. And this is a visual representation of signal strength. So that's what the Alpha 330 page tells you. And the similar stocks is, this is like Netflix, if you like Secret Games, then you would like Powder. So it just shows you different companies where there is a signal in the system. And then it gives you the name of the company, date when the signal was generated, and how it has done since then. So again, a lot of factual information based on very deep analytics and machine learning that we create. Now, let me go to value investing and what Sarthak was saying. And this one is, I'll just take one. I don't know who this is, Manappuram Finance. So this one is, so the first one is the valuation page. So what this algo does, it looks for undervalued companies. And what this is saying to me that Manappuram is trading at the first percentile, the lowest point in price in its 10-year history. Relative valuation, not absolute valuation. The bell curve that Sarthak was talking about, so it's a visual representation of this. The dotted line is the 20th percentile. So anything to the left of the dotted line, we consider undervalued. Anything to the right, we do not consider undervalued. So this signal was generated on the 8th of April when Manappuram was at 3rd percentile at 157. It has fallen even further. So now it's 1st percentile. So if you like Manappuram, now is a good time to buy. Again, you can go to live info and you can sort of do what I do, look at the 52-week high and 52-week low. So 52-week high is 187. Currently is 148. So, this is not a bad profile. Then it is an undervalued company, but is it a good company? So we score it against non-bank sector. And in the non-bank sector, it is scoring at the 62nd percentile, which is pretty good. And these are the factors we use to derive the rank: capital structure, consensus view, valuation, and future outlook. And in consensus view, not so great. So, capital structure, not so great. So clearly over leveraged, relatively poorly capitalized. So this gives you an idea of the risk in the company. And finally, back testing, has it happened before? And it has happened before twice in the last 2 years. And it has bounced back very, very handsomely. So, if you go with the past information, you could end up doing really, really well. So this company tends to be volatile. It falls, but then jumps back very fast. So that is what these pages are telling you. Now I've sort of jumped through it, but let me stop here.
So Akshay, we're on chat. Actually, a lot of people asking us questions on the app and how they can register and how they can subscribe. Sharath has a very cool comment for us, which I would love to read out. He says, cool pricing. Wish it covered future and options and intraday as well. Maybe at a slightly higher price per month, but great features and very cool pricing. I will subscribe today. So
thank you, Sharath. Thank you so much. We value comments like this. And by the way, we're just asking a question. If you want to join our WhatsApp community, we'd love to have you there. I mean, and you can then talk to all of us, because all of us are also there. You can just ask questions directly. But your point on futures and options is noted. We've been getting a lot of feedback. One of the things people have asked us for is, when are you launching crypto? So our next asset class we are adding is ETFs. That is mainly for international subscribers, because because ETFs are more in the US. But crypto will be coming. Futures and options very much on our radar. We will think about it. We have no plans at the moment, but stay close to us. We are constantly upgrading and innovating. You will never find InvestorAi in a steady state that it always looks the same, it always does the same. Literally every month you will see new features coming in, because it's not, we are getting great feedback from India. We're about to launch in UK, we're about to launch in Spain, in Italy, etc. And more we talk to people, the more feedback we get, and the more functionality, features, usability. And keep telling us what you don't like, what you like, because that is very valuable information for us. So
Akshay, I just want to take, one more again on the app itself. And this is Percy asking us again, do small squares on left have a meaning?
No, they don't. They're design factors.
Yeah. Okay. They're design, Percy. And Alok, thank you. He says, very good presentation. I'm just going to, okay. So Jasim, yeah, we were very happy as well that, okay, the WhatsApp link is back on the chat. Prabal has just shared it. You can actually just join that link directly and join the WhatsApp group. I think Naresh's question got answered. And yeah, so related to the topic, I'm just bringing back Gautam K's question again. I think he's again talking about the stop loss and exit, Akshay. I think you already spoke about it, but if there's anything you want to...
Yeah, just one small point I want to add. So Gautam, good point, and I'm glad you brought it up, because I forgot to mention it. I think I said that we are in the process of upgrading our active monitoring screens. And in that upgrade, you will see a stop loss, you will see a number of other things. I mean, it's not a stop loss in the sense, it's more an alert for you. The actual stop loss you have to put in your broker account, and you have to act on it. So we're not going to go there. But you will see, so it will start alerting you when the price drops below a certain level or goes above a certain level, and a few other quite cool things. So just watch this space. It will come soon.
Okay, I think in terms of questions, Akshay, we have, it's largely around WhatsApp group, can be...
Please join the WhatsApp group. I would love to talk to all of you. So,
And look, ask us questions about the app. Yeah. Over there. I think, yeah, Akshay, I think in terms of questions, we've pretty much covered.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for everybody's time, and have a great weekend.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Hope to see you again next week. Please do rate our webinar, today's webinar. It's up on the screen. And, we will reach out to you. We have your details, and you will get all details about the subscription in an email now. And all of you who've joined our WhatsApp group, of course, you'll get all the details again. And please download the app and ask us questions. We're there, and you'll almost see real-time answering of your questions on the WhatsApp group.
And please, if you like the app, please go to the App Store or Play Store and give us a good rating. We would love to have that visible. And
yes. A lot of subscribers here today. So please do go on to the Play Store and App Store and rate the app and leave your comments. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.